Stop bumping the table.
I'm gonna sit down. This is swap meet with the forcing
fucking
fuckers.
Stop. Welcome to Swap Meet. It's the first episode. I'm Tanner. Thomas.
Trey.
Hunter.
Alright. This is a show where we give each other albums, kind of test each other's patience, and then
other things.
We talk about the album at the end of the week. My album is The Money Store by Death Grips. Thomas?
My album was F sharp A sharp Infinity by Godspeed, You Black Emperor.
I had In the Aeroplane Over the Sea by Neutral Milk Hotel.
I had The Clash by The Clash.
Alright, The Clash.
It was what I expected. I've heard a few Clash songs before, just the generic ones like Blitzkrieg Bop.
Not a Clash song.
No. Anyways, it was what I expected. I expected a little bit more yelling. It's more like they're kind of chill. They're not really chill. They're more chill than I expected in their everything except the chorus. They're loud in their choruses, but not in their.
Considering they're in the same genre as the Sex Pistols, you'd think it'd be more like the Sex Pistols.
Yeah, and I'm not a fan of the Sex Pistols.
It's completely not.
They
really are.
My favorite song was The Police and the Thieves.
That's my favorite off that album too.
Yeah.
I like that and Janie Jones.
The first song, yeah.
Yeah.
Every song else kind of blended together.
Yeah, I think there's a period about the middle of the album. It's like Hate and War, What's My Name, and Deny all kind of blend together to me. But then London Burning, I think, separates it a little bit.
London Burning, I wasn't a fan of it, but it stood out to me too.
Yeah.
Because it was more chanting.
Yeah.
There's a few songs that are like the chorus is just chanting, and that's what I expected from them. The song that like stood out as this is the Clash to me was White Riot.
Yeah, White Riot. Yeah.
It just sounds like if I heard it, I would be able to guess. And I don't listen to a lot of the Clash, but
is this your favorite Clash album?
I like London Calling a little bit better, but it was longer, so I just gave them the Clash instead. Also, it's their first album, so I figured it'd be better.
Nice place to start.
All right, do you like it?
I probably wouldn't play it unless I kind of listen to songs when I'm in the mood, and I can't think of a mood that'd be in when I want to listen to this.
Yeah, I was not feeling my album until today. I completely sidetracked listening to other stuff until today. I was like, I'll finally listen.
It's just something I'd play when I get tired of everything else. Right? But as I build my library, I probably wouldn't play it again. I'm aware of it, and I can see where I think Nirvana got their influences from this.
A lot of bands did.
I mean, I'm sure, yeah, but I just specifically remember the Clash being something that Nirvana.
Would there be any like singles you'd be like, listen to this again because it's just a nice single?
Maybe the Thieves and the Police and the Thieves, just because that intro.
Okay, and the thing I'm most interested to see about this whole experiment is, did you find any bands off of the Clash while you're listening to them?
No, the problem with that was I was working this week, and
Me too.
And I'd listen to music while I'm in the car and while I'm at home, and I wasn't awake at home because I stayed up all night and I had to work, so I listened to it in the car, and then I listened to it today when I was cleaning, so I didn't really look at other bands that were related to it.
Cleaned for us?
Aeroplane Over the Sea.
I liked it. That's good.
Did you really?
Yeah. I liked I felt like there were some songs that were... Okay, some of the songs seemed like filler, but it was good filler. Like Fool was the instrumental one.
Uh-huh.
It was like, instead of vocals, the horns kind of drove the melody.
Uh-huh.
I liked it a lot.
Okay. Was that your favorite song?
That was one of them.
Okay.
Let's
My favorite song is Oh Comely, which I know you didn't listen to but once because it's so long.
How long is it?
It's like 9 minutes long.
I'm sure you've heard that song before, though.
It's so good.
I don't think I like the first, I got tired of it about 5 minutes in.
That's understandable. It is repetitive.
It was good. I listened to it again today.
You said 9 minutes was long?
I mean,
one of my songs was 29 minutes long.
Anyways, I also liked Holland 1945 and Two-Headed Boy.
As albums or
No, as their songs. They've only got one other album, and it's just a lot of annoying screeching sounds.
It's weird how they went from that to that.
I think one of them died, right?
I don't know. I'm not sure about it.
I've heard like...
Did you like the part 2s? There's a lot of part 2s.
The only songs I didn't care for too much were... Okay, so there's King of Flowers Part 1, which is a separate song.
Yeah.
And then there's King of Flowers...
King of Carrot Flowers.
Part 2 and 3, which are in the same song. I didn't like Part 2, but I liked when Part 3 started.
Okay, yeah. That's the thing.
And
I wish they'd be separate.
Yeah. And then there was Two-Headed Boy Part 2. I like that.
Okay.
It was Two-Headed Boys at the kind of like the middle of the album, and then Two-Headed Boy Part 2 is the last song. But I was okay. It was still good.
Do they add on to each other, or like is it distinguishable as like okay, that would be the second part of the song?
It's like a second song. Okay.
So it's not like a continuation almost.
It kind of is, but it's enough to be two separate songs.
Yeah.
And then
Did you like how they flowed into each other?
I thought I will say it was a lot of similar sounding stuff. But
Did you listen to the lyrics?
yeah, the lyrics. All right,
They're weird as shit.
the lyrics. I get that there's a meaning behind them and all, but I thought some of them were too cryptic.
Yeah,
to get.
there's no. I don't find meaning in it. I just think it's a
Yeah.
good melody most of the time.
Yeah, I tried to listen to the lyrics and get the sound out of it, and I like researched it, and I saw all the stuff about Anne Frank and all that, and all the themes about like
hiding. So or the it reminds me of modern times, like gypsies almost, like people living in modern days but living with like past cultures.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that because there's a lot of like trailer park and then it sounds like almost like they're gypsies living in the woods almost. Like,
yeah.
Would you suggest it to somebody else?
Yeah, I'd say if you like that kind of music.
it's folky.
I've heard a lot of it, or I've heard like 4 songs of that album, but I've heard those songs a lot, and after a while, it just got like annoying to me.
I mean, yeah, there's
I
a lot of
I
it's a
still
lot of
think-
strumming and
I wouldn't listen to the whole album start to finish. I would listen
Yeah,
to
me
songs at a time because the whole album, I think he's got a sound and it sounds good.
But he sticks to that sound completely.
He sticks to it so much that you don't want to, or at least I didn't want to listen to the whole album start to finish in one set.
and I don't do that anymore. I listen to
I
the songs.
also think a lot of folk music's like that because there's another folk band, the Fleet Foxes. I listened to their whole album and it was so samey. Like it's a good album, but after a while I was getting bored because it was so samey and so slow.
Also,
and so
another filler song. I think it was a filler song. It was Untitled. It was really fucking good. It was like the filler songs were really good.
Yeah.
But
Let me ask you
Communist
about
Daughter made no sense at all.
It's really short though. I like that song actually.
It made like I tried to listen to the lyrics, and it just made no sense.
You don't like Seaman on the Mountaintop?
It was like seaweed.
Seaman on the Mountaintop.
It was seaweed on something, semen on the mountaintop. I don't-
Are they just going at it on the
There's
mountain?
the Communist
At first it said Communist Daughter. I was thinking about what's the Russian girl that got killed in
I'm not good with names.
the revolution. Anyway, but there's a whole conspiracy theory about her not being dead. Or her not.
Did you find any other bands off of?
No, I didn't. Look for it.
You know, look for
Did you
it.
like
It would just be more folk.
Ghost was pretty good. Yeah,
I like
Ghost was different from the rest of the album.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of like the same kind of strummy guitar and some horns over, I really like the horns. By
The
way.
horns are like one of my favorite parts.
Because without it, it would be a little similar to a lot of other kind of
It'd be
music
generic,
like that.
yeah.
But the horns kind of separate it. I think.
I can't believe you know so much of this album.
What do you mean?
No, I wasn't the last time you actually listened to all of it.
I listen to it like maybe every like 3 or 4 months.
No, wow.
I like it. It's something I'd visit a lot.
Yeah.
But anyway, Ghost.
But is it the woods?
Ghost
I mean,
had
our
like an
woods.
overdriven kind of guitar sound to it that separated it from the rest. So that was a good break.
Go ahead.
Mine was F sharp, A sharp infinity. It is an hour long, but only contains 3 songs. The 3 songs are Dead Flag Blues. What? That was crazy. The blues part is pretty accurate because the very end of it sounds very, I don't know, it's like a western. It's a western feel, like you'd hear it in a western movie almost. But I think I really enjoyed that. What was the other song? East Hastings and Providence. They're all very long songs, and there's parts where it's just silence for absolutely no reason. So much so that in the last one, I thought the song had just ended and the whole album was over. But little did I know there was like 4 minutes left. But there was just like 2 or 3 minutes of silence. It's a real ambient thing, and it's kind of an experience.
It's kind of droning.
Yeah, I think it was either Providence or East Hastings that had some droning in it. But it's surprisingly beautiful. I don't want to sound.
You're a bitch.
Yeah, that's exactly. I don't want to sound like that, but for a song with no lyrics, there's a lot of emotions going on in this. Especially, I just like the first one so much with the
The voiceover.
the spoken word was actually really nice because some spoken word is just not good. But this one, there was
good. That's a good spoken word.
there was a point to it. It was like this post-apocalyptic setting it got, which you can see from the album cover. Kind of reminded me of the book The Road.
So, I have a story about this album.
Wait, I want to say one more thing.
All right.
I think the best song was the first one, Dead Flag Blues. But I do think the best part of the whole album was in East Hastings, where the guitars, like, everything dies down and then it swells back up and it gets really loud and the guy just starts banging on the drums. And it gets real good. I think it's around, is it 6 minutes or 10 minutes? I think it might be 6 minutes. It just gets real good all of a sudden. And then it kind of dies back down and kind of flows back into Providence.
I listened because the Melon Man suggested it.
Okay.
Right? I kept hearing him talking about Godspeed. I'm like, well, fuck it. So I downloaded it on my phone, and I never touched it because I looked at it, and it was 3 songs. It was an hour long. I'm like, obviously, this is extremely experimental. It's meant to be an experience. It's meant to be taken in all at one time. And when I decided to experience it, not knowing anything about the album going into it, was on a 20-hour bus ride home in Texas at night.
Oh, that's when you listened to it?
It was in the West. It was like the
Perfect.
I was looking at the setting of the album out of the window of a bus.
I didn't know you listened to it.
It was
then.
fucking incredible.
That's cool.
It was nothing but fields and like billboards, like the lonely billboard,
Yeah.
and like occasionally I'd see a guy walking on the side of the road and shit like that. It was fucking.
It's a very lonely album because of the stretches of time where there's nothing, and then there are other stretches of time where it's just very low instrumentals.
It's
and
like
just a very like quietness to it.
and the band is Canadian.
Yeah,
The band is
I looked that
Canadian,
up.
and it's like it was very Western, especially
Strange.
like the second track, like with the train and stuff like that. I swear to God, I saw a train out of that window.
Yeah.
It was crazy. Like it's like listening to Californication in the middle of LA. It was perfect, and I didn't even know it was going to happen.
I also downloaded the album and then didn't listen to it for a while.
Would you suggest it to anybody else?
It's a hard suggestion just because you'd have to be really into that sort of thing. I thought I knew what I was expecting. Like I thought it was going to be loud, but it definitely was not. It was very quiet.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of droning. There's definitely some structure in it.
You have to have the patience for it though, because it's not something that just gets going. You're like, wow, I can stay on this. It sounds like a hit to me.
But you liked it.
Yeah, I did. It was slow.
Would you listen to it again?
I don't know if I listened to the last song again, but the first Dead Ends Blues and East Hastings, I really liked, and I'd listen to it again.
I'll admit, I only listened to it like 2 or 3 times. One was on that bus ride home, and I listened like 2 times afterwards because of how incredible it was on the bus. But yeah, it's hard to get through some of it.
And
you just have to
especially
be in the mind. You have to be in the state of mind. And speaking of state of mind,
Oh wait, one
hold
last
on.
thing.
Hold on, I have a question. So
Yeah.
it's instrumental,
no,
Yeah, almost all of it.
aside from the spoken word. At the
And there's
beginning.
on
There's
the last
some, like-
song, there's some like singing, not really. I wouldn't call it singing, but stuff is being said.
But what
But not.
genre of music would you put the instrumentation closest to?
it's
It,
like
it differs. Honestly.
it's kind of like cowboy western country almost, but like if it was super dark.
It's also very spacey.
So I would think with the name
What?
Godspeed sounds like a thrash metal band.
It does.
Yeah,
it does.
it's
but
it's
that's
not.
That's what I
it's-
expected.
It's not fast. It's not heavy. It's got some beef to it when it's going, but it's never like
especially in the second song.
it's never. It's kind of brooding. It's just like the only way, and this is gonna sound really dumb. It's the only way I can explain it is it's like Lovecraftian. Like it's like intimidating, but you don't know what's wrong with it.
Yeah,
It's just dark. It's
I agree.
I don't know. But it's it definitely turned me on to experimental music more. But I was talking about how like you have to be in the mood for it,
Definitely.
and
Because I don't feel like it's right if you go into a song and then just stop listening to it all of a sudden.
no, you have to. You
Yeah.
almost have to sit through the whole
Even
album.
even
every
when
time.
it's not even when it's 29 minutes long.
I mean, it's not. It's meant to be challenging.
Yeah.
You know.
The instrumentals would tone down a lot and quiet down, but then it'd start picking back up again, which I think is a good part of it because you're like it's almost like you're not expecting it, and then it just comes out of nowhere and hits you real hard.
Is it droning?
There's some droning, but it's very little.
Is it that they play notes you wouldn't expect and that it's like off a 16th or something like
No,
that?
it's there's no it's structureless. Almost for the entirety of it, it's
Yeah.
structureless because like listening to music, you know kind of what's coming next because when you're no matter if you know what you're listening to or not, you've got a basic meter, you've got a time signature, if it's like a 1 2 3 1 2 3. If you don't know music theory, you still know it's there. You still feel it. There's not a lot of it is beatless. A lot of it's tones, sounds, kind of just out in space a little
Yeah.
bit, and then the first time a drum set like swells up, it's kind of it catches you off guard because you
And
need to listen
it's
to
real good.
10 minutes of the spoken word, and then the guitar comes in, it kind of puts a melody to it, which is a little structure, and it's like, okay, your ear's catching on to something, but then it dissipates.
Okay.
And then the drums come in, and the guitar, it starts to sound like a normal song for a little bit, and then that dissipates, and it's weird. My album was The Money Store by Death Grips.
Postmodern hip hop group, experimental hip hop group.
It's-
Death Grips.
It's industrial punk rap is the best way.
Fronted by MC Ride,
MC Ride.
the man himself.
You should say they have the song Guillotine.
Yeah.
The meme song Guillotine is not on this album, but that's they made that song.
Going into it, I knew it was gonna be loud,
Echo.
and I knew it was gonna be loud and not inviting and really kind of difficult to get through. But I had listened to stuff like that, so I wasn't worried about it. The problem with getting fed, like spoon-fed, like forced enjoyment kind of something like Death Grips, it's like listening to heavy music all the time.
Yeah.
It's like you have to be in the mood you have to be in like this like pissed off mood or want to be in a pissed off mood to listen to Death Grips because it's supposed to be loud and thrashy and stuff, and sometimes I wasn't in the mood for it, but I had to listen to it.
By the way, we only had 2 days to listen to these albums.
Yeah, it'll be a week. It'll probably be a full week next episode.
Okay.
When I first started listening to them, I definitely agree. There would be parts where I can't listen to this. My head is actually hurting from what I'm listening to, just because it is so hard and it is so loud. And I think the more you get acclimated to it, the less of a mood set you have to be into. You can just listen to it. I won't say for fun because the music isn't fun.
So
per se.
but going into it, it's fun. It can be, but I listen to stuff kind of close to it. I've been a fan of heavy music for a long time. I like punk. I like alternative rap. So like opening up with Get Got and The Fever, both of those are really good.
And are there any songs that stood out to you or that you didn't like or you liked a lot?
The Fever.
Oh yeah, so good.
The Fever is fat.
AA.
Um.
Did you understand anything he was saying at any point?
Yeah, I caught some of it, and the thing about it is, like, it was. I would give it a light 7. I would give it a light 7.
Like down?
Yeah, I'd give it a light 7 right now. But what's gonna make Death Grips better is when I'm a fan of cult music. I like there being like lore to my music. I like there being a community of people. That's why I like Fish. It's why I like. There's a huge group of people on the internet that like dissect Kendrick music. I like that portion. I heard people talk about Death Grips and like when they think this thing is gonna happen in a narrative of Death Grips, and I was like, well, that sounds fucking interesting. I'm gonna have to read lyrics and like really dissect this thing and get into it. So I think there's a future with me loving Death Grips, but having like an album taken out of the middle of their discography and sat on my lap and you have to listen to this in 2 days.
Have fun.
It's definitely not the best way to do it, but I'll go more into it.
I know The Fever is about drugs because he says something about I got the fever scraping siding, and siding is slang for suicide apparently. Because he just makes up his own slang all of a sudden.
It's the fucking
I've seen footage. He says I've seen footage. I stay noited.
I've seen footage is good too.
And noited just means paranoid apparently. Because I guess he's seen footage of civil unrest or something, and he just feels paranoid about it, like he has to constantly watch behind his back. And a lot of his works seems to talk about drugs and being paranoid and
Does he have a drug
violence, and I have no clue. I don't think so.
Well, I mean, Death Grips is release music. Like a lot of heavy music, it's release music. It's like the most primal, like, shit you don't want other people to hear stuff out of your body so it doesn't happen in real life. And I feel like that's like the core of MC Ride and him. It's just the most brutal shit he can possibly put on paper.
It really is.
Yeah. Which will be interesting. Does anybody have anything else to say about their albums?
Would you recommend Money Store?
Depends on the person.
Yeah, definitely.
If somebody
recommend it to?
so like the thing is, punk is dead. but punk's not dead. Punk is just in different places, and it's in rap right now.
I think Hunter and Trey's, their albums were much more approachable compared to ours.
Yeah.
So ours was just so out there and different.
Well, I think we can only do that to each other. If
Yeah.
I gave him
We have to say our names.
if I gave Hunter A flat,
He wouldn't have listened to it.
F,
Well, he
A
might
flat,
have.
A flat, he would have fucking hated it.
Yeah.
Because he's just not that.
It almost never grabs your
I
attention.
can't listen to music like I want to be able to. So.
He's not patient when it comes to music, which is fine.
Or anything. But
There's the majority of music is that way. He's not looking for music for the experience like that. It's just I wouldn't recommend it to Hunter. I might give it a try.
See, your two albums were more underground
Yeah.
kind of stuff. You gave him Godspeed, he gave you Death Grips.
Yeah.
Whereas ours were people have heard of The Clash and people have heard of Neutral Milk Hotel.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it was no
Yeah.
Carly Rae Jepsen.
What'll make it
What
interesting
is
is when I mix with him with Hunter and Thomas mix with Trey and vice versa. Like the weird people get mixed with the normies. This is the portion of the show where we give each other the albums for the next week. The partners for next week will be me, Tanner, and Trey, and Thomas and Hunter.
Your album is World Party's Private Revolution.
World
Parties.
Parties.
By World
Private.
Party.
Okay, never mind.
Okay.
That's kind of funny. World Party, but there's a private revolution. That's kind of dirty.
There you go.
And Trey's album will be Choose Your Weapon by Hiatus Coyote.
What a good singer.
Yeah, she's fat.
Hunter's album is The Long Dark Blue by Swain.
Your album is Doolittle, but the Pixies.
Nice.
This is going to be a thing that's going to continue whether you like it or not. So I hope you enjoyed this one.
By the way, smash that motherfucking like button. You already know.
Stop.